Blessings, Starshine. This is Smadar from Song of Stones, and those of you who follow my videos will probably recognize this beautiful grounding crystal. I'm going to try and let the sun highlight its 8-sided face. That is the requirements for a grounding crystal to have an 8-sided face. I mean, any crystal can potentially be grounding, but the crystals with the 8-sided face are specifically known as grounding crystals. And you could probably see why that very balanced form. And this one happens to be a really large one. So in a sense, it's a challenge getting the light to reflect for you to be able to see it. But in person, it's spectacular. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen such a large grounding face before. So the reason I'm back with it is because I want to talk to you a little bit about grounding. And grounding is something that a lot of us in the spiritual circles are really needing. Always, but especially right now. I mean, we always need to feel our connection with the earth. And I want to start by talking a little bit about what grounding is. And if you don't know, there is in electricity, when plugs are being installed into the house to hold electrical plugs, the electrical outlets, they are made with a grounding prong, so that I mean, I don't know the technicalities of it, but I know the basics of it, which is the electricity needs to be grounded into the earth in order to avoid frying out your sockets and getting electrical shocks. So when they put in the electrical systems in a house, they need to make sure that the electricity is grounded. And when you see plugs that have 3 prongs, one of those is for grounding. So why am I mentioning that? Because it's really no different. The idea is the same. We need to have a connection to our earth and our bodies, so that we don't get overwhelmed by the light, by the energies, by the power of our light. You could say our electrical systems. We are actually electrical beings. So that's the physical, real world aspect of grounding. And again, I don't think it's any different when from a spiritual level. We need to feel our connection to the earth so that we don't get overwhelmed by our own power. And it's really that simple. So how do we get grounded? How, as spiritual beings living in this earth body, and those of us who are extremely sensitive, extra sensitive, how do we find that way to get grounded? And there are many ways. Going out into the earth, going out into nature and standing on the earth. That's a beautiful way to get grounded. And touching a tree, hugging a tree, meditation. There are grounding meditations, there are grounding exercises that we can do. And this beautiful crystal took us through one the other day, and I encourage you to go back and visit it if you want to, maybe even on a regular basis, if you want to, if you're feeling that you need some grounding. But I also want to talk about how sometimes getting out into nature and standing on the earth is not quite enough for us. And I think it depends on where you live. We've done a lot to our earth. And when we mess with our environment, we're messing with the balance between ourselves and our environment. We don't just harm the earth and the creatures around that are living on the earth. We harm ourselves too when we put chemicals out into the earth and into the air. That all gets absorbed into the earth and into the atmosphere and eventually into our bodies and our breath. I mean, you could look at it as the earth being the body and the atmosphere being the breath. It's a very appropriate metaphor. So then when we go out into nature and we stand on the earth, in an area where where the top soil, the top layer of our earth has been affected by the things that we've done, it's going to affect how we experience grounding on a physical level. On an energetic level, and this is something that this crystal has been showing us, on an energetic level, it doesn't matter where we are. We could be on the top floor of the tallest building on the earth, and we can still feel grounded. And then we can also be on the earth, barefoot, and not feel grounded. And that happens on two levels. One is the physical level, like I've mentioned. So because we've messed with our environment, we're not able to connect as well as we used to. But the other, and this is the more important one, is on the level of our spirit, our intention, our belief. Our ability to connect on the energetic level. We can do that anytime, anywhere. And the crystals are a great way of helping us to remember how to do that, because we've forgotten. We live on this magical planet with such amazing physical, tactile experiences, and we've forgotten that we're also spiritual beings. The distractions are very powerful. The sensations are very powerful. So we forget that. And then when we're out and about in our neighborhood and there's cars driving by and helicopters flying overhead and lawnmowers running and loud music, and there's lots of things that can cause us to get distracted. Even the birds singing, though that's a very pleasant distraction. So that's why it's important for us to consciously make the effort and the intention to reconnect to that part of ourselves that is grounded. Oh, and there's a beautiful woodpecker that just popped over. Who is coming with a message, and I will let you know what that is as soon as I hear it. And it's about the pulse, the breath, the heartbeat of the earth. Woodpeckers, they're the drummers of the birds. They connect us with the pulse of the earth, and I hope you can hear it. There's a lot of noise. So how perfect is this being? There we go. Hope you heard that. I really hope you can hear that, because how perfect is that this beautiful woodpecker is coming to show us what I've been struggling to try and express. So when we're in places where the earth is not the greatest quality and we can't always get out into nature, one of the things we can do is connect with the crystals. We can connect with earth elements that we could bring inside the house, like branches and bark and dried elements, pine leaves and pine cones and all kinds of things. We can create for ourselves a little basket full of elements, a grounding basket, so to speak, and bring that in with us when we do our meditation, or just have it near so that we can feel those energies when we can't get outside. And also, natural river stones are beautiful, very easy, very accessible things that we can bring into our homes to help us with our grounding. But ultimately, the key and one of the simplest things is to see our bodies as an ecosystem and do what we can to keep our bodies clean. But also just connecting to our heartbeat and knowing that our heartbeat is in rhythm with the Earth's pulse. And mindfulness meditation can help us with that. Just connecting to our breath. Simply just connecting to our breath can do amazing things to get us grounded. So I leave you with that, and I invite you to stop by our social media and our website, the Song of Stones website, or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, and you will find that grounding crystal meditation. I call them crystal blessings. So you will find that there, and if you need help finding it, just get in touch with me and I will be happy to help you with that. Have a beautiful day filled with lots of magic and light and many blessings.